Hey guys, we're here today to talk about the UFC fight taking place on May 2nd this Saturday between Carlos Prates and Jack Della Maddalena. Guys, in my opinion, this is a fight between the best strikers in the welterweight division, the best Muay Thai, strikes that can decide the fight on their own, you know? And Carlos Prates has insane knockout power. He's a guy who's really dangerous in the first and second rounds, and he brings that into this fight. He relies a lot on his kicks and knees to the body, and that straight left, which is really accurate. Jack Della Maddalena relies more on distance control. In my opinion, he's the guy with the most technical boxing in the division. That's Madalena. He's a guy who doesn't have that much knockout power in the first two rounds, but he sets things up really well and has a very, very good jab. He controls things really well there, moves really well. He's more technical when moving, but I see that against Carlos, he loses that in the first two rounds. Carlos is going to bring chaos to this fight. He needs to corner Madalena in those first two rounds, at most by the middle of the third round. And then that's when Madalena starts to improve his chances of winning. In my view, Madalena has a slight advantage. Because he's more experienced in the UFC, he's already been a champion. So, because he's been a champion and has faced the top fighters in the division, having more experience in the organization, he's going to have that slight advantage. I see it as a 55 to 45. But keep in mind, in the first and second rounds, Carlos Pratos has a better chance of winning. And there's also the possibility of a quick knockout if he lands that decisive blow. Now, Madalena shouldn't let Carlos Pratos corner him. If I were the coach, I'd tell him, man, put Carlos Pratos against the cage and wear him down a bit, especially because we know that Carlos's takedown defense is still developing. He's not an athlete at a high grappling level yet, but no one has managed to impose that grappling game on him so far. It's time for Madalena to bring that in the first round to take him down. We know that a striker, when he's put against the cage, loses a bit of his power. I always say that the Russians do this a lot, putting grapplers and American wrestlers against the cage. So people put them against the cage, take away the striker's freedom of movement, and that's when they start to build their game. That limits Carlos Pratos' game, and we know that Madalena likes to build his game, so he benefits more from this kind of game. Let's take a look. How do the odds look on 1xBet? It's a fight where even the odds on 1xBet are very close, with a slight advantage for Madalena, but there's another very important point. We know that Southpaws fight against Orthodox fighters much more often than Orthodox fighters face Southpaws. That gives a slight advantage to Carlos Pratos as well. It's a fight where he brings that advantage. We know that Carlos really likes to use his fight IQ. Southpaw against Orthodox, which changes things a lot, and he uses that very efficiently, guys. So that could be a difference for Jack Madalena to press forward, you know? And Carlos Pratos knows very well how to create angles there and is always at an advantage, keeping his head in a safe position. Maddalena is a guy who doesn't handle pressure very well in the first and second rounds. He gets a little lost. And Carlos Pratos has knockout power. He uses the kick to the midsection very well, you know? That's what I said at the beginning. Carlos Pratos, he has to use his kicks, he has to throw knees, he has to use his Muay Thai. He can't fall into a boxing match with Madalena, you know. If he stays in the fight at mid-range, Jack does have a chance to beat him. A strike from Jack Madalena can hardly decide the fight the way Carlos can. You can see, if we look at his history, he doesn't have a devastating first round or a devastating second round. He's a guy who needs to build up. He has a very good jab and moves, jab and move. And Carlos Pratos, to stop him, is going to have to kick, my brother. He's going to have to throw a lot of kicks, go for the ribs, the inside leg kick there, but I would tell him to go to the body more. Go to the body more and move forward. Bring chaos to the fight, because that's when Carlos Pratos' game will show up. Madalena taking kicks, punches, knees, and elbows. My brother, he's gonna go down, you know? Jack Madalena could do something he doesn't usually go for. Tried to take it to the ground in the first round. Go for grappling in this first round, you know? He's a guy who's been in the UFC longer. He faced the top guys in the division. He's a more experienced guy in there. So he needs to bring that know-how into the fight. They're fighting MMA, not just striking. If it's just a striking fight, man, Carlos Prates. Now, if Jack can make it an MMA fight, especially in this first round, take away some of Carlos Prates' strength. If Carlos enjoys the fight, man, he's going to bring chaos, his greater reach, and heavier hands. Carlos Prates has a lot of power in his punches. He's a guy who deals a lot of damage in the first and second rounds, grappling, reducing Carlos Prates' power so that later he can build his game. Because if you let Carlos Prates fight freely in the first and second rounds, man, it's a knockout. If the fight goes past the second round, that opens up space for Madalena to grow into the fight. And he's a guy who throws more combinations. Carlos Prates likes to build up with single strikes, but Maddalena is different. Jack Maddalena, he likes to set up his knockouts. He keeps landing with more hand combinations and moves out. In the first and second rounds, he's going to control the distance, preventing Carlos Prates from getting in. And as the fight goes on, Jack Maddalena will start throwing more combinations. I'm betting on a knockout there at the end of the second round by Carlos Prates. I see Carlos Prates kicking a lot, forcing Jack Maddalena to want to come in. He's going to be taking a lot of kicks and won't be able to keep the distance. And as he closes the distance, right after taking a kick, trying to land his right hand on Carlos Prates, he'll take a left straight and go down. Or even a knee, but a left hand there. It'll be kick, kick, punch, elbow, and knee. One of those three, take your pick. The orthodox fighter, he's not used to fighting southpaws. And when he gets hit a lot, especially by a guy with a really strong kick like Carlão, he's going to want to close the distance to defend himself because he won't be able to land anything on Carlão. And in that attempt, Carlão will land another straight, another elbow. That depends on the distance Maddalena comes in. Check out a big knockout there at the end of the second round. I would tell Maddalena, as the fight starts, to control the distance. Distance with his first attempt, not get drawn into a striking battle, but yes, taking it to the grappling game. And go for a double leg, yes or no. Put him against the cage. Stay there tying him up, making Carlão use his strength so he stiffens up from the isometric strain of defending. So then he can start fighting from the middle of the second round onward, when his game will have a chance to improve. But I don't see him being able to do that, but that would be the ideal game plan. He should bring MMA into this fight, because if it stays standing, Carlão will drop him. I've known Carlão since 2015, 2014, 2015 when I went back to train Muay Thai for the second time. At the time, it was Muay Thai Elite Muay Thai, where Leo was already a coach. Then it became Phuket Fight Club, and Carlão stayed there for many years. Man, he was a skinny kid. Skinny, tall, but you could see he had knockout power. He was calm in the fight. That ability to corner his opponents so easily, right? He's a guy who throws isolated strikes, very powerful ones. I tell people that he kicks you, but he also has a left knee strike. When the guy throws a right cross trying to step outside him, he has a left knee strike. It's insane. He catches the guy coming in trying to hit him, and he throws that knee strike really hard, So he's a guy who knows how to hurt. He has a very strong left hand, a very heavy left hand. He's a guy I admire a lot, has a very smart game, and knows how to hurt, man. The guy knows how to hurt. That's the definition of Carlão. He's not a guy who builds up to a knockout. He's a knockout artist. He's in his prime, right? 32 years old with a lot of experience. A lot of fights. I don't even know how many years he spent with Leo, but he was with Leo for a long time, guys. And we all know that Leo is the greatest Muay Thai coach out there. I say he's the general of the Brazilian army, and Carlão is definitely one of Leo Elias's top officers. Now I want to know from you, who wins this fight? Comment down below. Come on, Carlos Prates, this is Brazil, guys. But he has a pattern. He lands 2 or 3 strikes really well and then gets out, 2 or 3 strikes and gets out. Carlos Prates can't let that happen. He has to kick a lot to drain Maddalena's energy. He needs to hit the forearms a lot. If he can't get through, throw a lot of kicks to the forearms to take away Jack's strength there.